monetization does take an eagle eye. It does take, it needs you to have a focus on it. And if you don't have that single track-minded focus, it can sometimes be very difficult to grow in the way that you might be able to grow if you start with one particular platform and then expand out. Also, you need to be aware of what your audiences are going to respond best to. What platforms are they on? And what platforms are you most likely to grow on? Those are the ones that you want to kind of look out for. And I will tell you exactly why. So quickly, TikTok. TikTok is a place where everybody wants to be, but money-making opportunities are scarce on TikTok. I don't know if you can see Henrik, but I'm just gonna, sorry, Henrik, I've got you in a little video up here. I'm just gonna move you a little bit so everyone can see. So the TikTok curse is that it's quite difficult to become, to make money on TikTok at the moment as a news publisher. That's because they have very strict entry requirements to create cash on the app. To be eligible for TikTok money, you have to be based in the UK, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, or the US. They have not opened it up to any other countries at this time. This may change in the coming year, but at the moment, it is restricted to those countries only. So,
and when, sorry, Charlie, I have there are some questions also, and I have one.
Yes.
Tayyip is asking what kind of content the scene has been creating, referring to what kind of niche. I mean,
yes. I'll quickly answer that. In terms of scene, we have 10 different channels, and we cover 10 different topics. So for example, we have a survivor show which focuses on violence survivors, so gun violence, domestic violence. We have a show on health care, a show on mental health, a show on climate change, a show on finance. So we cover a lot of different beats, but all of our content is made for the Gen Z audience. It's 13 to 24-year-olds is our main target audience, and that's who we reach predominantly. On Facebook, interestingly, Facebook has actually helped us diversify our audience, and we're now reaching on Facebook predominantly 25 to 35-year-olds, which is really great because it's also helped us reach an older audience that wasn't available to us on Snapchat. So that's who Scene is, and that's who we reach.
And I guess you are a public company, so could you lift a little bit and tell how much are you earning on all this?
Well, I'll show you per view later. So when we're going through Facebook and that, well, I'll show you per view. I can't reveal like our company profits right now, but I can give you. I'll be talking through Meta monetization in a second, and I'll be breaking down how much she makes per 1,000 views.
Okay, and Katja is asking, can I stop earning from some videos on my Facebook page?
Yes, so I will be breaking that down in a second as well.
And then my last question comes from here. When you say that you have to be based in UK, Germany, France, Italy, or Spain, is that taken from the IP address, or how is it? I mean, we can watch from anywhere, and we can also try to get private earnings from it. But when it's going through TikTok, that's what you mean. Then you have to have your IP there.
Yes, so it's from the country that the account was set up in. So you set up accounts typically on your phone, or you can do it on laptop. So it'll be set up in the country that your phone is registered to and the account is registered to. So your IPN and also the phone itself. So what we've done actually, obviously TikTok is banned in India at the moment. We have quite a few Indian colleagues. I will disclose that we have one Indian colleague who has downloaded a VPN to try and access TikTok so that they can see how the content is performing. And that's been successful for us. I don't know if it would be successful enough to set up an account, but it is successful enough to be able to view content. I don't know if it would trick it into saying that you're from Italy, for example, in terms of starting an account.
Many of our partners are actually in exile, and quite a few are based in Germany, a few in France. Does that mean that they have a US staff also? Does that mean that they can actually open there?
Yeah, so I'll be talking through TikTok in a second in terms of why it might be interesting to experiment with TikTok money and what that means. So let me break that down for those who are eligible. So not only do you have to be based in those countries that I mentioned, you also have to have a TikTok account in good standing. And by good standing, it means it's not been flagged by TikTok's guidelines. Right now, for example, the scene accounts, we have been flagged for one of our content this week. So I would not be able to apply for TikTok money, even though our account was set up in the UK, because we've been flagged this week for one.
And why were you flagged?
It was because of nudity, actually. We were doing a body positivity piece. It showcased somebody with a crop top on, and that was flagged as nudity. So we had to take the content down. TikTok have very strict guidelines, and they flag automatically, and there's no appeal process. So if you get flagged, you have to take the content down. And if you get flagged twice, they sometimes remove your channel. So again, it's really important that you are on top of the TikTok community guidelines and terms of service. Okay. Great. Then you also have to be at least 18 years old. You have to have at least 10,000 followers. So you have to be on TikTok for a little bit of a while before you can actually get the money. And you have to have at least 100,000 video views in the last 30 days. Okay. So that's really, really important that you've had at least 100,000 video views, which sounds like a lot, but it's not too difficult. And 10,000 followers, which is also doable within a month, I reckon. If you're creating purposely, is the way the BBC taught last week. Okay, just going to the next page. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, I think I skipped one. So the TikTok opportunity. These options are available in those certain countries, but if you do manage to access it, you can get access to gifts during lives and also get access to monetization features. So I just wanted to click on this. Let me exit this quickly. So I have a little, very short video just to demonstrate how to apply for this creative. So this guy isn't eligible, but he shows you exactly how to apply for it. I'll also send this video to everyone as well after this. So you go to your, let me slow this down really slowly. Let me pause this. So how to apply for Creator Next. You go to your settings on your profile, which is up here. Yeah, where he's pointed. Just tilt this a little bit. You then click on Creator Tools. And then at the very bottom, the settings, it says Creator Next, and you click Apply. Okay. Once you're in there, it will then tell you if you're eligible. It will go pink. If it's pink, happy days. You can click Apply. And then TikTok will let you know if you've been accepted in the Creator Next program. Okay, so that's the first step to getting into the program itself. So that's how you apply. You go onto your profile, you click on the 3 lines, you click to create tools, you go through to Creator Next in the settings, and you click apply. And that's where you'll find out if you're eligible or not. Okay. What's important to note about TikTok Creator Next program is that it's mainly set up for individuals. It's mainly set up for creators. TikTok is a platform that at the moment is really rewarding individual creators, people who are making content for fun, people who are kind of starting out on their own. And the Creator Next portal was set up for those individuals. So it's really important to understand that the offerings there are aimed at people who are operating as individuals, not as companies. It's a little bit different in the way that Facebook approaches monetization. The Creator Fund basically allows creators to be paid for certain metrics. So if you are on there, they have this thing called the Creator Marketplace, which partners you with other brands that might be interested in working with you to kind of create more money on there. You can also have access to video gifts and video and live gifts. So if someone's watching your video and they like it, they can give you a little gift, which creates some money that goes into your account. And if you do a live video, you can also click there, and people can click on your live video and give you gifts. You might have seen that if you've ever watched a TikTok live video, you may have seen this. And that is another way of kind of giving people giving you money through the live section as well. So that is how the TikTok monetization works. There's no in-stream ads as there is in Facebook or YouTube. It's all the adverts are all partners with TikTok. You can partner with brand opportunities in the Creator Next community, but that's the brand making an advert featuring you rather than you creating content that's then shown as an ad. And you're also given the opportunity to have video gifts, which are very short, small monetization methods, but can add up if you get quite a few views. Sky News do a really interesting model, and I'm not sure if they've monetized on it. I haven't looked into this, but this week they've been live streaming all of their TV broadcasts into TikTok, which is a really interesting model. If you do get into the Creator Next program, having people watch your live stream TV within TikTok could be rewarding in terms of them giving you gifts for just watching your TV channel without you having to optimize for TikTok, which is quite an interesting model, and something that I would definitely explore more if you are from a traditional broadcast channel. So that's really important to understand. If you create a business account on TikTok, if you list yourself as a business, you will be limited by the audio you can use. So if you ever want to create a trend, video trend, for example, if there's particular music that you want to get more views, that you want to use to get more views, you might not be able to access that audio if you have a business account, because it limits what access to audio you have due to advertising regulations. So you won't have access to money-making opportunities other than e-commerce. So you'll be able to sell things. So you'll be able to make adverts and sell items to individuals and partner with other creators as a brand, but you won't be able to kind of create the content that you might want to on TikTok to kind of get the view count that you need. And that's really important. It's a common mistake that publishers will make when they make a TikTok account. They'll make it a business account, and then they're kind of locked into this one space on TikTok that they can't kind of get out of without creating a new account. So that's really important to note.
Samsam is asking, once my TikTok account was created in a country that's not eligible, can I change it to be based into eligible country?
That one, I'm not quite sure. I think you can change the number that the TikTok account is associated with, but I'm not sure if that will change your eligibility status. You would have to change the number and then see if you can go on the Creator Next program, see if that has changed your eligibility. If it hasn't, I suspect it's probably because it was registered in that country, and you may need to make a new TikTok account to kind of be able to get those kind of gifts, the access to the video gifts and the access to the brands collaborations. Okay, thanks so much for the questions. The last thing I wanted to say on TikTok, just quickly, is that TikTok and other social media platforms are looking away from I see someone's drawn on my page, are looking away from monetization and supporting publishers, and are looking into e-commerce at the moment. This is from a couple of days ago in The Guardian. The TikTok is looking to become the next Amazon. They're looking at ways that they can sell products to their consumers, and that's looking to be what a lot of social media platforms are looking into as their main source of revenue going forwards. Meta have also looked into social commerce firms, setting up a social commerce firm, and it's definitely something that is an ongoing strategy. A lot of social media platforms this year and the past few months have seen a humongous drop in revenue from in-stream advertisements. They've seen a massive drop in revenue from advertising, mainly because advertisers during what looks like to be a recession are kind of pulling out of adverts that they'd usually place on social media platforms, but also the value of advertisements is dropping. So the social media platforms that are completely reliable on in-stream advertising are suffering, and a lot of the big players are looking to move away from it. So just be conscious of that as a publisher who's going in to rely on in-stream advertisements or rely on social media platform support to make money online, that their attention on you might differ over the next few years, because they're moving into this e-commerce space. It's just something to be aware of, something to be mindful of. I could be completely wrong, and they could do a 360 and come back to kind of looking at the potential of monetization. But right now, this seems to be the kind of path of least resistance for most social platforms at the moment. And my second session, I'll be going through different ways to make money online that aren't dependent on monetization in this sense. And I can't wait to discuss that with you in the second session. Okay. Before I go on to Meta,
go with some promotion for your second session also. We just have 3 questions. I'll just read them up, and since I know we got to move on, so try to reply to those briefly. So Yimin Yang saying, how TikTok check if you are not in that listed country? And Kosao, also from Myanmar, and from Misama, very successful Myanmar TV and digital media company, say, we have 64,000 followers and 2.8 million views in the last 30 days, but
Amazing.
Our account did not get monetization. So
is that on TikTok?
This was on TikTok, yes. Because
Yes.
you're welcome to follow up. Yes, good.
I would love for more publishers in areas and countries that TikTok aren't acknowledging at the moment, in terms of monetization, to reach out to TikTok and show them the kind of figures that you're doing, because at the moment it is very closed, and they don't allow you, they won't, it's not set up that you can kind of apply for this monetization without being in the countries that I mentioned. So you won't get money on TikTok without either kind of making your case to TikTok as to why you should be included in that Creator Next program, but also if you haven't set up your account in one of those countries. So that's really important to note. As I said, TikTok is the place to be for visibility, but it might not be the place right now to be for revenue streams. There's arguments to be there just for visibility at this stage, and that's why Scene has gone onto TikTok. It's why we've expanded into TikTok, not to make money, but to be there just to be seen, and just to kind of grow our audience that we could potentially convert onto our Instagram and our Facebook pages where we do make money. And that's another strategy that you can look at. If you have that many followers on TikTok, how do you kind of get them to also migrate over to Facebook to watch your longer form content, for example, that might mean that you get to make a little bit more money on those audience numbers. So that would be something that I would look into if I was you. Okay.
Thanks.
Fabulous. Let me move on quickly because I am conscious of time. Okay, Meta, the real money makers. I'm going to go through Meta and YouTube, but first let's start with Meta. So Meta have strict policies, but they have a small ask to start monetization. They also have multiple streams of revenue from in-stream ads to fan subscriptions and branded content. And I'll go through fan subscriptions and branded content in my second session. But today I'm just focusing in on in-stream ads. So on the in-stream ads, the first step to revenue, you need to have the following. So you need to have 600,000 total minutes viewed in the last 60 days. This isn't too difficult. You just have to publish regularly. And then you have to have at least 5 active videos. If you want to have in-stream ads on live video, a lot of people use Facebook to go live on or Instagram to go live on. If that's the case and you want to also monetize your live content, there's some additional requirements. You have to have at least 60,000 minutes of those 600,000 total minutes that were from live videos, views from live videos. And you have to have at least 10,000 page followers, okay? So as I mentioned, Scene has over 800,000 followers on Facebook. So you have to have at least 10,000 followers on Facebook to do monetization on live videos. But you can have in-stream ads on your usual videos, on your non-live videos, without having that 10,000 follower mark, which I think is a really low benchmark and a really exciting opportunity for a lot of people, a lot of publishers. So Facebook for me is very interesting because of that. There's a low benchmark to kind of start making money, and it's a big audience reach as well across a lot of different continents, a lot of different areas that might not engage on other platforms like Snapchat or TikTok, for example. Ads are placed at the 1 minute mark in long form. So your content has to be at least a minute and it has to be optimized for this break. So if you are creating content, think about the fact that there's going to be an advert at the 1 minute mark in your piece. Okay. Make sure people are watching past that minute. So if you are about to interview someone important, or if you're going to reveal something interesting about the story, make sure that that reveal happens just after the minute. So you tee it up just before the minute, and then at the minute mark, you're just revealing what that is. And that will mean that people watch past that advert. A lot of the skill of monetization is actually making sure that, as I said at the beginning, the suspense element, that making sure that your viewers are watching past the ads, which is much more harder than it sounds. People do not like watching adverts. And if your content isn't appealing enough, people will just close it and go to the next one. So making people watch past the advert is the real skill. And that advert in long form is placed at 1 minute, okay, on meta content. Okay. Any questions in the chat on that before I move on?
We have one going back on the TikTok, and this is from Yemin Yang, saying if someone from US create TikTok account but post videos from another country, is that eligible?
Are they, it would depend on where they were at the time when they created the account. I think if you create the account in the US, then it should be eligible. That should work. Yes, that should work. For example, Scene right now, we created one account in the UK, but we often publish from South African phones, and we're still eligible if we want to monetize. Okay, so that's something that should work. Okay. All right, so that's long form meta. Just to give you a breakdown, Scene earns about $3 per 1,000 views on Facebook. So every 1,000 views that we get, we make $3, three US dollars. So that's kind of the breakdown of kind of how much money you're looking at. That doesn't, that fluctuates. It depends on how well that particular video does. But the average for us is about $3 per 1,000 views. Okay, hopefully that gives you kind of an idea of the kinds of money that you can make there.
But Paul is asking, is it counted if you skip or forward without viewing the video? And this is about the ads.
I am not sure about that, actually. I'm not sure about whether the user, how long the user has to spend on the advert for it to count. And some adverts you can't skip, others you can. So I'm not sure if it counts if the people have like skipped after 1 second, or if they've skipped after 3. I'd have to kind of look into that a little bit further, but I'll try and get that answer for you before next week's session. Okay. Good.
Then is asking, thanks for your presentation. How about if I have a Facebook account with 19,000 followers but spread daily news? Can I make money without videos but only with posts?
So as I mentioned at the beginning, all of these monetization efforts, the ones that I'm talking about today, I'll be talking about next week. I'll be talking about some forms of monetization that doesn't necessarily require you to post video content. I'll be talking about those next week, but this week, this is primarily video. And what I would say is if you're not posting video at the moment, you might want to think about it, because Facebook and Instagram have both come out, Meta as a general have come out and said that they are prioritizing video content. If you're not posting video content, your content will not be boosted. It will not be pushed by the algorithm in the same way. So if you want more views and more followers, you might want to consider looking into video content creation on these platforms specifically. Okay. Twitter is text-based, and they're not pushing video as hard as other platforms, but Facebook has kind of changed its aim to video, and since TikTok rose basically, and they are very super focused on video now, as they probably will have told you when they came to talk about Reels and reel creation. Okay, I'm just going to move on for time, but we can go through the questions, the follow-up questions in a second. Just going back to Meta, they probably will have mentioned this to you, but now recently they've now made short form content, as in a minute, less than a minute, also monetizable, which is really amazing. They have bonus programs and static ad placements as well as in-stream ads for that. you can go to your rights manager and check out if you have the ability to monetize on those on your short form content. So you can see in your Creator Studio if you are eligible to be part of their bonus program for Reel content, which is really exciting and something that is really amazing. So have a look on your Creator Studio, and I'll be going through how to check your eligibility in a second. Go onto your Creator Studio and check out whether you're eligible for that bonus program. Scene is, and we've been making quite a bit of money on Reels recently. It's been fantastic to be part of that bonus program, and it's really refreshing to see another revenue stream from Meta. So that's something that's really exciting that's come out recently. They've also recently released this thing called Stars. It's very similar to the TikTok GIFs that are so closed up to that closed community that I talked about earlier, that Creator Next community. Meta have now copied that basically, but they've opened it up to anyone who's eligible for monetization, and they've called it Stars. And basically 1 star, so if somebody gives you a star, it equals 1 British pence. So 1 star equals 1 British pence. So if you get lots of stars, it can go up to pounds and pounds and pounds. You're not going to make tons of money from the stars, usability, but it's going to add just a small additional revenue stream. For the stars, you have to have 1,000 followers, but they do also work for live content and for Reels as well. So that's really cool. For stars, you have to be in the following countries. I'm just going to list them out, but I'm also, all of the links that I'm showing you today and talking about in terms of the countries and that kind of thing, I'll be putting into the chat at the end of my session as we're going through questions. And I'll also email them to everybody who attended the session as well. So don't worry about kind of finding out where you find this information. I'll be sending you this in a link anyway. But just as a quick kind of run through of the countries, Argentina is one, Australia, Belgium, Brazil, Canada, Chile, Colombia, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Malaysia, Mexico, New Zealand, Peru, Philippines, Portugal, Spain, Taiwan, Thailand, UK, and the US. So if your Facebook page is based in any of those countries, you will probably be eligible for stars, which is something that's new, brand new on Facebook, and something that is on Instagram, and is something that is another way to earn money on Meta. Okay. Fabulous. Okay, I'm just going to quickly move on to YouTube. I'm going to come back to Meta in a little bit, but let me just quickly move on to YouTube just for time.